Hello and welcome. I know I promised you guys I'd be like presentable, but then I changed a tire. So it just, you know how it happens. Well, actually, I ran over, my hat is very crooked. I ran over a bolt, if you will, a screw about this long. And of course, I didn't notice it till I got home. And then I thought, oh, my tire's a little low. I'll take it in. No dice. By the time I got up the next day, it was completely flat. So I took the tire off, and then I thought, well, rather than putting on the spare and doing all this, I took the tire in and had to replace it. So much fun. And then I came back, put the tire back on, and here I am. Pretty much that's it. So welcome. Today we're talking about how to rev up your metabolism with breathing. If you're new to our group, or new to a Wellness Wednesday, welcome. I'm so excited that you're joining me today. If you're catching it live, put hashtag live in the comments. If you're catching this on the replay, put hashtag replay. And the reason why I want you to put hashtag in front of it is so that I can track it later. And if there is a better time for us to be hanging out and doing Wellness Wednesdays, then that's something that we will certainly do. So let's see who is with us today. I can see that people are watching, but I don't see any comments. And frankly, with the way that Facebook has been putting me in Facebook jail lately, it wouldn't surprise me if there are people commenting and I cannot see it. So as you know, we voted in the Facebook group earlier this week in between our, Spring into Health series. And we voted on a couple of things, which live stream, which Wellness Wednesday to have today. And then the other ones there wasn't any that didn't have any needs. So next week we'll do spring allergies. And we'll also talk about how to drain your ears. We'll talk about how to drain your sinuses too, if those get clogged. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about sleep. Sleep is oh so important. It's kind of one of those foundational things, right? You have to have sleep for everything else to function well, including your metabolism. By the way, it's all tied together. It's interesting how conventional medicine breaks things up into systems, right? You go see a sleep specialist, you go see a rheumatologist, you go see an orthopedic surgeon, you go see a GP is about the closest thing you'll get to somebody who's truly all encompassing, but God forbid something goes wrong. He's sending you to the ENT, the gastroenterologist or something, right? The OBGYN. It's very rare. When I was a kid, I'm 41. So when I was a kid, my GP did all the things. He was the OBGYN. He delivered the baby. He did everything. Our family practice doctor, Dr. Purefoy. He was an awesome dude, but he's long since passed. So anyway, so it's interesting how conventional medicine breaks things up into all these different specialties when really they all play into each other, right? So if you are one of the people that voted yes on how to use breathwork to speed up your metabolism, know that there are so many different functions, so many different factors that play into it. And it actually touches every aspect of your human suit, not just your breath. Okay. All right. So if you are, and another quick disclaimer, breathing to increase your metabolism works. Yes, it cannot be your only strategy. Okay. So it is a simple and easy way to speed up your metabolism. And it sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it's not. Science wins, right? It's actually science. So what happens when you breathe or let's back up. So the oxygen level in your body is directly related to the speed of your metabolism. Okay. The oxygen level in your body is directly related to the speed of your metabolism. Oxygen molecules are required to break down food at a molecular level. Okay. The relationship is complementary. So the more oxygen you have, the more combustion you have. You can think of it kind of like a gasoline engine in a car, if you know much about cars. And obviously oxygen has a ton of other important duties too. We're just really focusing in on a very narrow aspect of it. So when you think about that, when you think about the more oxygen you have, the more combustion of fuel in your body, that's kind of the analogy for it, then it makes sense that the more oxygen you have, right, the more fuel you can combust. Okay. So that leads to the question, how do you get more oxygen in your body? Well, the good news is it doesn't take any fancy equipment. You don't have to wheel around an oxygen tank. Although, if you aren't that is lemony. If you aren't feeling well, oxygen can help you recover from that. But honestly, it doesn't take fancy equipment. You don't have to wheel around an oxygen tank. If you wanted to go to an oxygen bar, those are kind of fun sometimes. But all it really takes is a couple simple breathing techniques. Okay. So I want you to take a deep breath with me. Just, did you see what I did there? Did anybody notice? What part of me went up immediately? My chest. Right? My chest. And you can't see, but my belly did not go out. Okay. Just my chest went up. So when you breathe into your chest, which is how we breathe, everybody, no, even if you're conscious of your breathing and you know that you should be breathing deeper and all of those stuff, our default mechanism is to breathe into our chest. And that uses about 30%, 30 to 40%, depending on the person, of our lung capacity. So when you just breathe in, and that's just slightly more exaggerated than a regular breath, right? You're not breathing deep into your belly. And if you've ever done yoga or, I don't know, maybe even Peloton, or done anything, meditation, where they tell you to breathe into your belly, you might have thought, well, that's weird. My lungs don't go to my belly, right? Like, how am I breathing into my belly? But you actually are. And when you do, you get about 70% more oxygen than when you breathe just into your chest. Okay, that's one huge difference. You get 70% more oxygen taking a big belly breath as you do when you simply breathe or take a big deep breath where you're inhaling and puffing up your chest. Okay, I'm trying not to blow in the mic. Hopefully that's not awful for y'all. All right, so knowing that is the first key. So it's as simple as breathing deeper. And so what's actually happening when you take a belly breath, when you fill up your belly, and then your chest is the last thing to expand. It's a little bit hard to do well when I'm talking, but when your chest is the last thing to expand, all that's happening is your diaphragm is pushing down, which pushes down on your organs in your stomach, and they don't have anywhere to go, right? Because you have that fancy little pelvis down there. So they push out. When that diaphragm moves down, just like blowing up a balloon, and I don't know if they do this at all schools. At my school in about, I don't know, 6th grade, they brought in lungs and showed you like what would happen if you smoked. And they used balloons. Well, they had human tissue lungs, but for one of the demonstrations, they used balloons. And so they would suck in and the balloons would suck together and they would curl up. And then when the inhalation came, the balloons would uncurl, right? That's what's happening to your lungs. They're sucking up. And well, when you blow out, I have to suck in to blow out, right? When you blow out, they suck up. And then when you inhale, when you do that deep belly breath, they unfold because the diaphragm moves and gives them room to push down. Okay. All right. As you guys are joining me, either #live if you're watching me live or #replay if you're catching this on the replay, make sure you say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, all of those good things. We're talking about breathing to speed up your metabolism, breathing techniques to speed up your metabolism. Okay. All right. So now we know what happens when we breathe, when we take a chest inhale and we take a big belly breath. Another thing to know is inhaling through your nose allows for a much deeper inhalation. Okay. So if you can inhale through your nose, that's what you want to do. That's one of the reasons why mouth taping is beneficial for sleep. You get more oxygen, your heart rate variability drops, all of those things. So as I mentioned, oxygen allows more fuel to be combusted, which allows your cells to produce more energy, which speeds up your metabolism. So let's talk about two really easy ways to do, two methods you could do that today. And really we're talking about three, because one method is just to breathe through your nose, fill up your belly breath and get it done, right? All right. So the first one is pretty common in yoga. It's called the breath of fire, and it's really good to speed up metabolism. It's also really, really good for your deep abdominal muscles, which for women, if you have had children, are often wrecked. Even if it's been like me, 11 to 13 years. Well, I guess it's 11 years since I've had a child, but the first one was almost 14 years ago. Then it's difficult, not for your external abdominals to recover, but for those internal abdominals to recover, the ones that control the pelvic floor. That's one of the reasons why no matter your physique, no matter your level of muscle, it's a common thing for women to be unable to jump rope or laugh or sneeze without piddling a little bit, right? And we can do that more very soon. Hi, Dawn. Dawn says she's live. Facebook user says she's live. That's what it comes up, shows me when, if you don't give StreamYard permission, but it's up to you. Totally fine. And Tara says, listening and dizzy from breathing. Be careful. Disclaimer number 3, be careful. Okay. So for breath of fire, you can start from a sitting. Sometimes it's easier to start from a standing position. You inhale deeply to feel, what's that East Texas coming out, to fill your lungs, and then using the muscles of your lower abdomen. Okay. So using the muscles of your lower abdomen, you're going to pull your belly button in really fast and force as much air as you can out of your nose. And then as those muscles release, the air naturally comes back into the lungs through the nose. Okay. That happens as you release the abdominal muscles. So you want to work up to doing this for 1 minute at a time. I don't know what, something in the background is making a weird noise. I don't know if you guys are picking that up. Now it's stopped, random. We live on a farm with no one else, so it's not like the yard crew showed up. Okay. So very simply, from a sitting position, you're going to inhale, fill your lungs into your belly, and then use the muscles of your belly to contract, to pull that breath in, and it forces the air out. Okay. And you want to work up to a minute. For a lot of you, you'll be able to do 5 or 10 seconds at a time. So here's kind of what it looks like. It's not a cute look. So just so you know. Okay. Can y'all hear that? So I'll see if I scoot back a little bit. I'll put my hands on my abdomen. Ready? All of the breathing I'm doing is by pushing my abdominal muscles in and allowing them to release. Okay. If you have trouble feeling it, getting the rhythm, just put your hands on your tummy and feel your tummy moving in and out. You want to remember this is a rapid movement. You want to work up to 1 minute a day, and then you want to do that 1 minute at a time, and you want to do that 1 to 3 times a day. It's something you can do while sitting in traffic. Don't get dizzy, Tara. I'm looking at you. It's something you can do in traffic. It's something you can do while you're watching TV if your spouse, partner, friend, roommate, whoever doesn't mind. But this can make a huge, huge difference in the amount of oxygen that is circulating through your blood and the speed of your metabolism because of the oxygen, as well as the deep abdominal muscle strengthening that happens. Okay. The second one is called breath preservation. I'm going to take a sip because I've been breathing a lot. Now, this one's a little bit different. It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit easier. From a sitting or standing position, you're going to inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 5. Now, your goal is going to be to get to 10 plus seconds to retrain your inhale so that you can inhale nice and slow and evenly for 10 or better seconds. Ultimately, you want to be able to do 20 seconds or so. I'm somewhere around 15 seconds most of the time. And then at the top of that inhale, so after you inhale and you're all full of air, you're going to hold your breath for 7 or 8 seconds. And then you're going to exhale for 5 to 8 seconds. Okay. So to start with, you're going to inhale for a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and exhale for a count of 5. And this breathing style allows, because you're pausing with your lungs full of air, it allows your lungs to extract as much oxygen as possible. Okay. So this is what this looks like. I'm going to use is my hand on screen? It is. I'm going to use my hand. Ready? I forgot to count. Ready? Mine's a little bit longer. Five's hard. It's hard for me to do 5, I think. And also not to blow into the mic that's in front of me. So hopefully that's not awful in your ears. I didn't think this through. Okay. So try that again. We're going to inhale for a count of 5. So inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, again, if 5 was easy, try 7. If 7's easy, try 10 and keep going. The things you want to do, you want your inhale to be longer than your exhale. You want to hold the air inside as long as you can and still exhale slowly. And then your exhale should be roughly half of your inhale, but it's easier to start with triangle breathing or 5-5-5. Okay. Once you navigate that, then you can add a 5-second hold after your exhale before your next inhale. And again, these are just really simple things. They do a ton more than increase your metabolism. So I'm kind of being sneaky, right? They're also going to help reduce your stress. They're going to lower your blood pressure. They're going to bring you back into your body and ground you, especially if you are anxious. They're working those deep abdominal muscles so that you can, if you feel the need, jump rope without piddling in your pants, right? They're going to do all of these things and have the benefit of helping to increase your metabolism. Again, breath work alone is not going to fix it all. Any issue that you're having with your metabolism is a tree with many roots. Hormones, inflammation, toxicities, all of these things come together to make whatever the version of you, the perception of you, the lens that you're seeing yourself through. Okay. And so breathing techniques make such a difference for so many people because, like I said, we only use about 30 to 40%, roughly a third of our lung capacity routinely. And so we routinely have just enough oxygen to function. And if we need more oxygen, if we're trying to build that lung capacity, build our cardiovascular health, build our metabolism and boost our metabolism, we have to practice circulating more oxygen in our body and in our blood. Some of the side effects that you might notice, I got a lot more color in my face when we were doing that. I was outside changing a tire in the middle of the day with no shade, but also that. And that was before the hat. I put the hat on to save you guys from what is my windblown, sweaty hair. But it keeps it'll increase the color in your face, increase your circulation. It will help you rest easier at night because the faster your metabolism is during the day, the faster it burns through all the stuff so that you can get to bed. It just starts all of the things out right in order for your metabolism to increase and other cascades of health and wellness to happen. Okay. And there's so many other benefits, honestly, aside from this rosy pink glow. So you guys let me know if you have any questions. A lot of times the big deep breathing fits in really well when you're laying down to go to sleep, or if you are someone who wakes up, because we've been talking about this today in our Spring into Health. If you are someone who wakes up in the middle of the night, like 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m., using the breath preservation will help you fall back to sleep. It's a really, really good technique for that. And then the breath of fire. I like to do it when I am already sitting in meditation. I find that it helps me fall into meditation easier, or drop. Some people call it drop into meditation easier because it changes the way my brain is working. Tara says, I can attest to the breath preservation to get you back to sleep. Absolutely. And if you can't think of the steps of the breath preservation, and I'll probably post them in the Facebook group here later today or tomorrow. But if you can't think of the steps, then all you have to do is breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, deep belly breaths and count to 10. So inhale 10, exhale 9, inhale 8, exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and you do it again. There are some techniques out there where they want you to start at 100. I have found personally, when I wake up in the middle of the night, knock on wood, that doesn't happen very much. Or when clients wake up in the middle of the night, if they do the 100 breaths, the 100 count, then at about, when they count backwards from 100, at about 40, they're like, damn, why am I asleep? Why can't I sleep? And then your mind starts playing and you lose it. So either breath preservation or just simply 10, 9, 8, 7, counting down for inhalations and exhalations. All right, friends. Well, it is 10 after 3. And like I said, I spent most of my afternoon after seeing patients and clients changing a tire. So fun stuff. And that means I have a lot to do, a lot of charting to catch up on. So you guys tag me in the Facebook group if you have any questions. If you think of anything, like I said, next Wellness Wednesday, we will talk about allergies. Before that is not a big deal anymore. But I know here in Texas, we have a ton of pollen all over our cars. And all over like the patio furniture and the animals and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that next week, including manual draining therapies for your ear and your face. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, friends, and I will see you soon. Mwah.